guys, and welcome back to the weird part of YouTube, aka my channel. So you probably guessed that by the background that I'm back from my vacation. I was back long ago, but I was too lazy to upload a new video because vacation blues and jet lag is like real. But anyways, I'm glad to be back. I just want to thank all of you guys for the overwhelming support of my past recent videos, including the shorts, including the couple of videos that I did that has reached about 1,000 views, which is like the benchmark right now for me. For a person who just gets like barely 100 views for every video, to get like more than 1,000 views that to a recent video is like huge. So thank you so much for all your support, and yeah, keep watching them. So I got a lot of questions regarding how to travel and everything. I did my best answering them in the comments below as well as in your DMs, but then I've been getting way too many questions and the same kind of questions, so I would prefer you guys watch both of those videos that I posted, so you can just check them out in the right hand corner. So yeah, a couple of questions that I've been getting is basically how to plan the whole traveling thing. So I'm just gonna sit down and just explain it once and for all. At this time of recording, there are two flight carriers that go to India as well as come from India, which is United and Air India, and the differences between both of them are quite stark. One of them, as in United, doesn't allow two bags, so it's just one check-in as well as one carry-on, and people actually stuff their carry-on, so it's pretty big and they actually hoard the spaces, but that's another rant for another day. Whereas Air India does allow 2 bags, which is 23 kilos or 50 pounds per bag, which is 2 check-in. So the other thing about Air India is that it's fairly expensive compared to United. I think if you were to go to Delhi, you get it about in less than $600. But if you do have a domestic flight to somewhere from Delhi, it does cost a little bit extra, but for sure less than $1,000. Whereas Air India, at least the ones that I see, are all about $1,000, so pick your poison. The other thing about the both of them is that United does have a flight entertainment system, whereas Air India doesn't, so you would be just staring at blank walls or windows or whatever that's there in a flight for like 17 hours, which is I don't know how people survive. I certainly wouldn't. But so that's pretty much it. However, when you are transferring into and fro from there, I think Air India does provide a bit of ease, whereas in United you do have to get to the domestic airport or exit depending on where your destination is. So depending on that, that's what the difference is between both the carriers, but rest assured there are only 2 of them that go to India. The other thing before you even start to go there is that you have to take your COVID test. That is pretty much given, and it's certainly important. There's no way you can escape from it. So based on your travel, you need to plan when you take your COVID test. So the general rule of thumb is 72 hours, and basically 72 hours from the time you actually got the result, and not when you took the test, because those can vary as well. Sometimes the test does take 2 to 3 days to get it. Mine took a day, and it was in the city, so it was very convenient. I just drove around to the city. Mine was in the Santa Clara County, and the test is obviously free, so you don't have to pay anything. It doesn't matter if you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, it doesn't really matter. If you want to go to your insurance provider, you can do that as well. There are a couple of places where they do it for free. The other thing is that United did give me a lot of crap because my test was about 50 hours old. So these were like 48 hours, but rest assured those are just minor inconveniences. As long as this test is less than 72 hours, which is 3 days, you should be good. You shouldn't have any much of retaliation. Make sure you do carry printed out form as well, just for the the check that it makes sense and all that stuff, and you have to show the report a couple of times, both at the check-in counter as well as in a couple of counters before you actually get to the plane. So just carry it around. Minor inconveniences, but at least you'll have a safe flight.
Great job. I don't want to bring you back in, you know?
Thank you so much.
All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sure if
Yeah,
you have better things to do on a Sunday than come.
No, it's fine. Thanks.
Yeah. I'll get the other one just a moment.
All right, I'll get that done. So here comes the most confusing part, as well as the most frustrating part, as well as the most important part of the video, is getting your exemption form. So there are two parts to it. So whenever you go to the Air Suvidha website, there's the self-declaration form where it asks for your ER number, and when you go to get your exemption form, it asks for your SR number. So that it's kind of like a catch-22 situation where you don't know where to begin with. So basically you start with the self-exemption form, you type in all the details over there. You can fill it anytime. It doesn't need any COVID test or any approval or any of that stuff, so you can just fill it up, and you immediately get an SR number generated to your email, as well as it's after the form is done, you get it, so you can just screenshot it and save it somewhere. Then after that, you take your exemption form. For the exemption form, there are a couple of categories that you want to get exempt from basically quarantining. So one is obviously the negative COVID test. The other thing is if you're pregnant. The other thing is if you're less than 10 years old. And then that's about it. Those are the three categories. So yeah, basically whichever one is suitable, you just fill it in. And yeah, so the most frustrating part is getting approved. So once you get it approved, you're gonna have a very, 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 very smooth sailing experience. You're not gonna have any issues at all. You might get so people who don't have that those are the ones who get a very tough time. And don't you think that you're gonna have a very easy time just because you have a negative COVID test report? So just make sure you get this done, approved, and it takes a day at least to get it approved. So make sure you have all those forms printed out. So basically you need to have your negative COVID test, you have your self-declaration form, as well as your exemption form printed out, and you have your Arogya Sethu app installed, and rest assured you're gonna have a very, very smooth sailing experience in Delhi. You might get stopped fairly bit in every stop, like at least 3 times before the immigration and twice before your transfer or the exit. The domestic airport doesn't require any COVID negative tests depending on the destination where you're traveling. There are some states in India that do require a COVID test, some don't. The one that I traveled to in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, didn't require a COVID test, so pretty much I didn't have to use it. The other thing about the domestic, wherever you're connecting flight, is that even though United, they let your carry-ons be however large as possible, they don't really check how much it weighs and stuff. Your domestic carrier will check the weight, so don't think you're gonna, just because it's about 23 kilos, you're just gonna get just gonna let it go. They won't. So make sure that you have your weight checked in, and make sure that it's less than the intended weight, so they're not gonna just let it go. So make sure that's important for sure. So I think that's the reason why people prefer United, people prefer Air India, depending on how much they're carrying on, depending on that. So while coming to the US, from Jan 26 onwards, US does require a negative COVID test. Pretty much that's the only thing that they require. They don't require anything else. You don't have to have an exemption form again. You don't have to have a declaration form, anything. So it's pretty much easy. But getting a corona test in India is a huge challenge on its own. Like in the US, you have drive-ins as well as a lot of free things that the city does, and you get a clean report. Whereas in India, there wasn't any free like COVID clinics that I checked, at least the place that I lived in. There are a couple somewhere here and there, but from the government hospitals and stuff like that, but they don't generate a report as such. So I had to spend about 2,200 rupees, which is not very cheap. It's about $20, which is fairly, it is medium range, but it's still expensive, like for just a COVID test. The ranges between in COVID tests ranges from 2,000 rupees to 4,000 rupees, depending on where you're going. If you go to a private hospital, it obviously costs more. I went to a lab where they just did the test. So in India, they do a nasal as well as a throat swab, and it hurts like really. There are a couple of more options in India, like the lab option, but they all do have the same price range more or less. There's also in-home testing, where for groups like ThyroCare or any other labs do come home, collect the sample, and then they give you the test results. In India, it's fairly quick. I got my results within 6 hours, which is like insane. That's the only thing that they check. I wouldn't recommend photoshopping, which a lot of people ask whether they verify whether the test is real or not. They do, because you have an ICMR number attached to the test, so make sure you get a real one, an authentic one, and don't get caught doing something weird. So yeah, that's all. So yeah, that's all, y'all. See you later in another video. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you have any other questions, do comment down below. I'll try my best to answer them. And yeah, DM and see my other videos because they're just fun to watch. And do subscribe, so that it basically lets me know to create more videos like this. And that's all, y'all. See you later in another video. Hopefully another fun video. So till then, bye!